Yeah.
So the question is a trick question. Is truth created or discovered? It's always created because it's always language that gets truth values. But that's not how people interpret it because everyone's so accustomed to committing reification fallacies, where they assume abstractions can have statuses and attributes that only agents can have.
Jesus Christ, Eric. Sometimes you say shit like,
That's what I'm talking about.
damn, like,
He's getting at.
making me thinking shit. It's like, you
Yeah,
tell me some bullshit.
hey, Abraham, that's because I'm a super genius. And I'm trying to get the MacArthur Genius Grant. I want to use it to eat more hamburgers.
You want somebody
to... Can you re-say what you were saying at the end of that?
You want somebody to execute that? I can do it for you.
Okay, Abraham. But right now what I want to do is execute the re-explanation of it for Ken, who didn't catch the last part of it.
Okay.
So what I was saying there, Ken, is basically that because statements are the only things that have truth value, if you're really talking about truth, what that means is
I was talking more about the agency thing.
Okay. Okay. I'll walk back into it. So it's necessarily created because you're talking about it. But the thing is, when you say something like, is truth created or discovered, you're using passive voice there. You're avoiding having a subject in the sentence. The answer to the question requires you to know the agent who's performing the action. But instead, it's a kind of reification fallacy because it presumes that creating and discovering are statuses that are possessed by an abstraction without any agent actually having done the creation or discovering, and thereby it's pretending to frame out, like, so you can't go.
So could you like frame it like, if somebody's like, is truth, created or discovered, it's like like they might say that, would it be better to say like, or I mean like, is something...
You're basically when you ask a question, you're saying this: are your cognitive functions undeveloped yet enough that you still make a mistake that presumes this sentence means something? If you do, the mistake you're going to reveal to me when you answer it is going to tell me which functions you value and which ones you don't value, and thus we can try to figure out your stack.
I mean, the correct way of phrasing the question would be, is truth created or discovered by you?
Right. If you have an agent in there, then it's a different thing. One question would be: Are you more likely to feel as though truths you encounter are truths that you yourself have created, or truths that you have discovered, or truths that you have found that others have discovered? Would be a more legitimate way to ask the question, but it would be less revelatory. The answers would be less revelatory.
I mean, that's how I interpreted the question to begin with. Like I phrased it. Or, I phrased what you were asking to be that question. So I think, so that's how somebody would ask that question if they're not getting too detailed about it.
I mean, my default is to answer the question as a philosophical question, to say like, okay, well, is truth a function of human will, basically, versus is it a function of something else? And my answer to that is it's an emergent function of grammar, therefore on that level it's discovered, because the statements that are evaluated by a truth valuing system, because those sentences themselves are created, you could say that the truth of the statement is made by somebody, but because it applies outside the individual, it's discovered more. But it's quibbling over semantics, really. The fact is, it's an emergent function of grammar. If things either make sense or they don't.
Eric, the reason why you should win the grant is because you understand the importance of words through word economy. It takes a very intelligent individual to keep up at the pace at which somebody who understands word economy and knows how to use it, because otherwise they just fall behind.
Well, That's sort of true, I'm sure, Abraham. And one of the reasons that I'm going to agree with you here is because I'm going to use my age, my wisdom, instead of my smartness to say where your growth arc lies is on managing FE more like Ken. You see, Ken with his NI and then second function FE gets a little frustrated with your FE, what he perceives to be ham-fistedness. Your FE probably works really well in a room full of sensors. In a room full of intuitives, everybody's reading your FE as trying to stroke people's egos, but it's not. I understand it. I know you, Abe. I know you're naturally occurring. You genuinely have a natural enthusiasm for the accomplishments of others. One of the things that makes you a great coach and everything. But as you age and develop more old people FE, you'll use it in a more INFJ-like fashion. Ken's giving lessons next week, he said, and you can sign up for his symposium. Josh, you desperately need to sign up for that symposium as well. Abraham doesn't really need to sign up for it. He's sort of taking like a new technique for somebody who already has master class level skills in the area, but is unaccustomed to doing the querying variety. Josh, you just need all around remedial training. And let's see, everybody else is too quiet, so fuck you too.
I think.
Can you assess my FE there, please? Did I do a great job?
Your FE was deplorable, and no, it was adequate enough. And I actually thought a high point of it is when you were pointing out that Abraham notices the positive qualities in other people. That was a good job. However, at the moment, Mark, I believe, has a statement. So now I think it's best that we turn it over to Mark.
Okay, Mark, go. You have the floor.
Well, I was just going back to what you were saying earlier. I think you need to, if you're going to ask that question and come to conclusions about it, you have to understand their metaphysic and how that operates. And if they're going to say discovered, I would say that. But I mean, truth is also relational. Too. At least in the way that I think of truth, I think it's a relational thing between the truth and you and the truth.
I mean, yeah, right. There be all the most important truths are truths in which there is a behavioral interaction with them.
Which is what many people overlook, which is why they come into problems, like very severe problems. I think
like breaking a leg.
Like breaking a leg, yeah.
That's a bad problem to have.
There's a relation between the broken leg and you and the broken leg.
You know, I don't know if you're aware of this, not Host Mark. Breaking a leg makes it almost 50% more difficult to walk.
Well, I mean, it depends if you have alternative ways of walking.
That's not real walking. That's fake walking, Mark.
So you have to define walking.
You're not fooling anyone with your fake crutch walking.
I've been trying to identify.
Sorry, what?
Go ahead, Ken.
I'm sort of vectoring off here. I'm trying to identify what that humor is and what I have. Like I have sort of like a problem with it on occasion, where it's like he says something and then you rebuttal with a joke. Like, I don't know, like in terms of like the difference of intuition, I was trying to figure out like what exactly, because it's not like, oh, Eric, you've done something wrong.
In that instance, I'll answer the question. I'm sorry to interrupt you to do so, to build bad energy on my part, but it's simply that I don't think that line of argumentation is going anywhere, and so I don't respond to it on point because I don't. It's like what he's saying is
he understands what I'm saying, so there's no need to talk about it.
I'm saying on my part, it's a flow issue. It's like in order for you to flow with the speed you want to flow at.
Neither one of us do.
But Ken is on point here because I want people to not be dismissed. I also don't want to necessarily see the other issue is there's a contravening FE concern, which is I don't want to constantly be contrary and constantly saying people are wrong about everything. But frankly, I've got such particular perspectives on things that gonna correct almost everybody about almost everything if I was asked to really parse shit out. And I could be wrong myself, but it's just a process
right.
I use, you know?
One thing I was going to say is that, you know, yeah, like I can notice that I'm having an issue with that, but it doesn't necessarily like mean that it's a problem beyond me. So it's like part of the reason why I'm, you know, sort of backtracking and pointing out that there's a flow issue, at least on my part, is that I'm trying to identify sort of TI specifics of it so that when I get into that situation again, I can more readily be like, oh, that's not actually the issue that I think it is.
Again, when your moisture gets either too wet or too dry, that's my problem, okay? Because I'm trying to manage the humidity level of my content so perfectly that everyone's moisture stays perfectly moist, never transforming into wetness, and never drying up.
Well, thank you.
Is that the
and when I come in the room, it's just like.
Well, what I think happened is Eric and I were already a couple of steps ahead in our conversation and realized where it was going, and we understood what we were both saying.
Because
No, I actually had an opportunity earlier to sort of get to the root of it more, but I asked the question at the opportune time, so I'll ask it now, which is that aside from grammar, I still sort of was wanting to delve into the nature of agents and agencies.
Okay.
You came in from the side of grammar, but you know, I was wanting to get into that a bit more if we have the time.
Yeah, let's do that. No, Ken, we're really pressed for time right now. With no bot in the room, I've got a lot of grocery lists to read through before I'm done tonight.